girls and boys, and assembled company. It is Friday at the World Storytelling Cafe. Therefore, it is stories for children of any age, children that are hardly out of the cradle, children with long white beards and long white hair, children wearing hijabs, children of all ages. So, and of course, our chief young person's Louis. Hi, Louis. Good to see you. Right. So tonight, regaling us with amazing stories will be from Southern Europe. In fact, you can't get much more Southern Europe than Greece. In fact, the cradle, together with Egypt and Mesopotamia and all those early civilizations, of civilization itself, we're all a mixture of all these things, and but we go through the conduits of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece, and tonight we are coming through the conduit of Greece. So I hand you over to Despina Aristeidou. Despina, it is all yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, friends, and hello from me. I'm Granny Storyteller. I know you didn't have the chance to meet me before, but Louis knows me. Oh, and he's brought all his puppets with him. Wonderful. How many friends? Human friends and puppet friends alike. That's so nice. So I was telling Despina that this is her in a few decades' time, so she'd better get used to the idea that this is what she's going to look like as a Granny Storyteller. Thank you, Granny, for the introduction. Oh, you're welcome, dearie. All right, so it's Epiphany today, and what a lovely word to use, because apart from the religious meaning and apart from what it used to mean before Common Era, we use the word today when we get a great idea, right? We say, I had an epiphany. And this is what happened to me today, because, you know, I tend to use little poems and riddles and tales. So all my riddles tonight are going to be connected somehow to the light that's coming, because this is the actual meaning of this holiday. We want to hope that we will make it through the winter time and that the light will be coming back to us, to our physical world as the sunlight, to our hearts as the warmth, and to our minds. And stories help us a lot with that. So here's my first riddle for today. Ready? Ears wide open, please. Concentrate now. I'm part of a bird, but I don't fly in the sky. I can swim in the ocean and yet remain dry. I get bigger at daytime and smaller by night. I seem to be dark, but dissolve when there's no light. Hello, Laura. Any idea? Okay, let me give you a clue. The sun being part of a bird. No, I'm afraid not. But
might be a happy bird.
Yeah. Sun does help with creating what we're looking for. In fact, when the sun is at its highest spot in the sky, this thing we're looking for now gets really, really tiny, almost disappears, and then it starts getting longer. And it's always with us.
Shadow.
Well done. Great, good job. So why did I use this riddle? Because this morning, I should tell you, this morning I was inside my house when this huge shadow covered the entire light outside my window. Now, this was really puzzling. I thought I'd better get out and check what that was. So I went to the kitchen to take my keys, but what do you know? My keys weren't there. I have one specific spot where I can always find them, so I don't go looking, but they were not there. Now, this was really weird. I started looking around the kitchen, on the table and under the table and on the chairs, and at the left side of the table, there was the cage of my bunny. And I looked inside, but the bunny wasn't there. And I thought, oh my, he has escaped. I'm sure he's going to choose some cable. I'm going to be left without internet like he did the previous time. I'd better find that bunny quickly. So I went to the next room, to the living room, and started looking there, but the bunny was not there. I went inside the bedroom and looked around and looked underneath the bed, but the bunny wasn't there. And on the bed, at the feet of my bed, is the place where my cat normally spends 20, maybe 22 hours of the day sleeping and licking its fur. But what do you know? My cat wasn't there. And I thought, oh no, if the bunny has escaped and the cat isn't here, that's bad news. I'd better find them both quickly. Otherwise, my bunny must be in serious peril. So I looked around the house, but they were nowhere to be seen. So I went outside in the yard where, my very happy but kind of silly dog normally chases around his tail. But the dog was not there. Now this was really weird. And then it dawned on me, I had an idea now. I had an epiphany. I went inside the kitchen, opened the fridge, took out the chicken, put it in the oven, turned the key, waited, and when it started smelling like, I hope you're not hungry, Babasi, sorry, nice roasted chicken, I took it out of the oven and started with a very particular kind of herbs I keep for occasions like that. I put it on a silver plate, put a lid on top, and took it up the hill. I found myself outside the cave. I left the plate there, lifted the lid, and waved a little bit so that all the nice odor would enter the cage, and quickly ran behind a rock. And I peeped. And lo and behold, soon after, 2 huge nostrils came out of the cave, as I knew they would, smelling and dragging the dragon behind them, because they were part of him, of course, towards the chicken. So before you know it, this enormous mouth opened and closed over the chicken, and it was gone. Soon after, he went back to his cave, and I waited, and then I started hearing the sounds from inside the cave, and I knew it was time. So I watched the opening of the cave, looked inside, and there you had this great big dragon going. And out of its huge, disgusting mouth came my dog. I ran quickly before the dragon could recover, grabbed my dog, disgusting as he was, I love my dog, to the house, went inside and put my dog in the bathtub. He started shaking and shivering worse than before, because there's one thing he hates more than being gulped down by a dragon, and that's taking a bath. Still, I put him under the douche, the water, and gave him a good rub. And I could see now, with all his hair stuck on his body, that something was weird. His belly was huge. Now, that did not make sense. I have a male dog. So we can, wipe out any pregnancy possibilities. That was not it. Something else was going on. So I had a little bit of chicken left. And I took it, stuffed it with a bit more of those herbs, remember? And of course, I had to remove the bones because we never, ever give chicken bones to dogs. So I passed him the meat with the herbs and he started wagging his tail very happily and gulped it down. And then I waited and he was looking at me expectantly, like, where is the rest of it? Come on, give me some more. And it must have been like 2-3 minutes later when he started, and out of my dog's stomach came the cat. I grabbed the cat and ran inside under the bathtub, and she did not like it, boy, I can tell you. Her ears were very, very close to her head, and she was scratching and fighting for her life, it seemed, although I was just trying to clean her. And I managed to clean my cat from all the saliva and the, you don't want to hear the rest. It was disgusting, I can tell you. And then, as I was washing my cat, I noticed that her belly was twice its normal size. Now, my cat is neutered. Of course, I'm a very responsible cat owner. So something should be done. I gave her the rest of the chicken, as you can imagine, and waited. And as she was starting licking herself after eating the chicken, as cats always do, she went like, "Meh." And out of my cat's mouth came the little bunny. It was so tiny. And it's I grabbed it, and you must hold the paws underneath so it doesn't get too scared. And I put it in the bathtub very quickly and started washing that out of all the slurping and the disgusting part. I will skip it. And as I was rubbing it softly, I noticed something weird, like a bulk in my bunny's belly. Well, that would explain it. I had a few herbs left, so I fed the herbs to the bunny and waited. And a few minutes later, the bunny went, and out of the bunny came my keys. I washed my keys, used a towel to wipe them, put them back to their original spot so I knew where to find them, made sure I closed the bunny's cage safely, checked that my cat was sitting on my bed, snoring slightly at her usual place, checked outside in the yard, and my dog was barking at his ball. And then I knew that everything was back as it should be. And that was my tall tale for today. Thank you kindly. Good job, dearie. Oh, thank you, Granny. Thank you. I hope Louis liked the story. It was a bit disgusting, Louis, wasn't it? What with all the vomiting? Wow, does he hug you, Louis? Let us see a hug. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Give them a kiss for me, please. Give them a kiss for me too. Thank you, Louis. All right, so here comes the second riddle. Are you ready? This is something that gives light, but it is not a sun ray. It is what you blow out on a cake on your birthday? Now, grown-ups, push. Louis, any idea? Let me give you the riddle again. Listen carefully. This is something that gives light, but it is not a sun ray. It is what you blow out on a cake on your birthday. No, okay, grown-ups, your turn. Here you go. What is it? What is it? What is it? I can read
icing sugar.
What was that?
Icing sugar.
Do you blow on it?
Well, it just annoys everyone else because it blows across their faces.
Would it be a candle?
Would it now? Thank you, Babasti. So we blow candles, Louis, on our birthday cake, right? Yeah. And if you blow them hard enough, some cake just splits over the face of the person opposite you. That's fun to do. A candle. There was a granny like this one, sitting in her farm in Sweden, and she had lit a candle. And she was wondering to herself, everybody has a tomte. Why can't I get a tomte? Now, I don't know if you've heard about tomtes before. Okay, these are farm spirits. And they are very lucky. They bring luck to people. So if you are a very good farm owner and you tend to your animals and you look after them and you keep a clean and neat farm, if you're lucky, you will get one or more tomten there. And they will make sure that your farm thrives and you will have prosperity and money and you will be able to have food for your family and make it through the hard Swedish winter. Now, some people mistake tomtes for gnomes. They are not. Let me show you mine. You know, this is mine. This is my tomte. He's Papa Tom. I do not have a farm, but he likes me because I am a pet owner. I have 2 dogs, 1 cat, 1 bunny, and he knows I take good care of them. So he's been with me and making sure we're all happy. I'm very lucky. But some people think they either take them for Santa Claus, maybe because sometimes they are dressed like this. This is my daughter's, Martom, and they wear red clothes or brown clothes or green clothes, and they come in all sizes. Sometimes you get tiny little ones, and they do have Baba's and John's white long beard, and Norman, if he stops cutting it, Norman's too, and everybody wants to have a tomte. They're really small. They're kind of 3, no more than 4 feet high. That's 1 meter, 1 meter 20 if you count in centimeters. And they're very strong, very resilient. They help with the chores around the farm, and they get angry easily. You should never, ever cross your tomte. You don't swear in the farm. You take care of your animals. You make sure they have the right thing to eat and clean water. And you keep your house and your farm neat. If you do that, your tomte is happy. Sometimes people try to steal their neighbors' tomtes. Yeah, it happens. Still, this little lady, this one, she was very good at farm keeping. She was having a clean stable and a perfect chicken coop and a nice farm, and her house was so clean you could mirror yourself on the floor. But still, even though she kept at it, and every Christmas time she made an extra dish of porridge and left it outside her door with fresh butter in the middle, like you must so you can invite the tomte in. No tomten would visit her farm. She was out of her wits' end. She didn't know what to do. Truth is, to give you all the details, occasionally, some poor fellow would pass from her farm and ask for a little food if she could spare, but she'd always send them away saying, I'm just an old lady. I have barely enough to feed myself. I cannot give you any. You go to the next farm. There's a big farm over there. Go to them. They will give you something. And she would not give even scraps. But one Christmas time, as she was leaving her house and it was really cold and snow had fallen from the sky and it was crunchy everywhere around her yard, she saw outside the fence of her house a little girl. And the girl, she was just standing there, waiting. She did not go near the old lady, even though she saw her. She did not ask for food. She just stood there. So the old lady went to her and she said, Child, where is your folk? Why are you not at home on a cold day like this? And the little girl looked up and said, I don't have a home. Now the old lady could see that the child did not even have shoes on her feet. She was standing barefoot on the snow. And the skin was reddish with little white dots as it gets when it's really, really cold. If you go outside and you forget to put on your gloves, your skin turns like that. That's what the girl's feet looked like. And the old lady said, But child, where is your mother? And the child looked up and said, I don't have a mother. Oh, well, she thought to herself, if I leave her outside on a day like this, I will probably find a dead body in the morning. So she opened the fence door and she said, Come inside, you, come sit close to the fire. Let me get you a little warm. She closed the fence door behind and led the little girl inside, where it was nice and warm, and she had put fresh wood inside the stove. And the poor thing just sat there and put her fingers close to the fire so she would stop shaking and quivering. And a little bit later, she had made porridge, of course, because it was Christmas Day, and she had left the extra dish outside on the threshold so that the tomte would find it. And she did have a bit extra that day, so she just put another bowl, a big one, for the kid, put fresh butter in the middle, and gave it to the child, who was now dry. And the poor kid, I don't know how long it'd been since she had had a proper meal, but she just gulped it down with it. You couldn't see the spoon. That's how quickly she ate it. And once she had her fill, and it was nice and cozy, and the old lady was just sitting by the fire at the side, the girl, well, she just, fell asleep next to the stove. And the old lady looked at her and she went to her bed and picked up a cover and went and covered the girl. And then, as she was sitting close to the fire, and it was dead silent now, it was night, she heard some footsteps crunching in the snow outside. Crunch, 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 crunch. They seemed to be small and fast, and she heard the footsteps going to the chicken coop. And afterwards, she heard the tiny feet going to the stable. And then, what do you know? She heard slurping sounds from outside her door, and she knew now. And indeed, a little while later, the door opened, and in came the tomte. You had a look at the old lady, had a look at the little girl, covered the girl better, and went inside the kitchen and started doing the dishes. And from that day on, the old lady, the little girl, and the tomte lived happily ever after. Ευχαριστώ. Thank you. If you're lucky enough to get a tomte, be very, very kind to it and to others. So here comes riddle number 3. Ready? Ears open. Listen now. Never resting, never still, moving silently from hill to hill, it does not walk, run, or trot. All is cool where it is not. I can
Say it one more
see
time.
your brains at work.
Say it one more time.
I will say it one more time. I'm just watching the bubble of ideas over the heads, savoring the moment. Here it goes. Never resting, never still, moving silently from hill to hill, it does not walk, run, or trot. All is cool where it is not.
The wind?
No, remember the connecting
yeah.
part between all the riddles? Good job, Amna. Sun rays.
Sunlight,
Oh.
yeah. It was-
Good.
Oh, that was enlightening.
No, it was sunshine. And the sun shining brightly on that day in the forest where the king had gone hunting. He was ready to hunt for something nice to bring back to the palace so that they would have a great big feast 2 days later when it would be Christmas. The thing is that as the king kept walking inside the forest, he found himself lost in a place where he had never been before, and the canopy was so thick that no sunshine passed through it. There was no light, and it was dark and gloomy, and he could see no path, and he didn't know how to find his way when, all of a sudden, a Kalikantaros appeared in front of him. Now, you may wonder what kind of thing is a Kalikantaros. I must tell you that that was a Greek king, and that was a Greek forest. So in a Greek forest, even if you're not a Greek king, around Christmas, you might meet some Kalikantaros if you're not very lucky. So this Kalikantaros turned to the king and said, "My lord, are you lost? Do you perhaps need some help?" Now that king, he knew that if you made a deal with the Kalikantaros, you'd have to pay some price. Nothing came for free. So he said, no, thank you. I will try to find my own way out of the forest. Thanks a lot. As you wish, my lord, said the Kalikantaros, and poof, same way he had appeared, he disappeared. So that left the king going around, and finding no way out, he sat underneath a tree and made a little mattress with the fallen leaves and sat there and covered himself so that he would manage to go through the chill of the night in the damp forest. Now, the next day, the king found some nuts and a few fruit around the trees, but no path. And then, poof, in front of him, there was the Kalikantaros again. "Sire," said the Kalikantaros, "do you need my help perchance today?" I might," said the king. "What do you want in return?" "What do I want? What do I want? The only thing I want, my lord, is the first thing you will come across upon your return to the palace. If you promise me that, I will take you back in no time." The king thought, oh, that would be my dog. My old dog I used to take with me in hunting, but he's too old to take with me now. He always runs and meets me when I get back, but I don't want to give my dog to the Calicanteros. I don't know what he'll do with him. Perhaps he will eat him. No, that won't do. It won't do at all, thought the king to himself. So he turned to the Calicanteros and he said, no, thank you. I will try to find my own way. All right, as you wish, my lord, said the Calicanteros, and poof, he was off. Now, what that king did not know, but the Calicanteros knew very well, and now you, my friends, are going to find out, is that place of the forest was enchanted. Because every year, on the 25th of December, the Calicanteri come out of the ground. Normally, they live underneath, and they try to saw and cut down the tree of life all year round. And when the tree of life is ready to fall, it's the 25th of December, and then the gate between the two worlds, theirs and ours, come together, and they can escape and come up to our world so they can do all the mischief they like. That was the first Calicanteros out, and although it was 2 days, now 1 day before Christmas, he was the king of the Calicanteri, and he was able to go out a little bit, very close to their land, even before Christmas. Now, the king found himself spending another night inside the cold, dark forest. And he tried to spend the nights there as best he could and covered himself with leaves again, etc. But he was really shaking and quivering because he hadn't had a good lunch that would keep him warm, obviously. You cannot just survive on a few fruit and on a few nuts. So he spent a horrible night there. And in the morning, barely closing an eye for the night, when the Calicanteros poof appeared in front of him again and said, my lord, are you ready to accept my offer for help now? But the king thought, well, I know I don't want to give my dog, but it is an old dog, and if I don't get some help, I might die here. So he said, yes, okay, I accept yourself. I will give you the first thing I come across when I return to the palace. And before you know it, before you can say, they were back to the palace, as if the king had never gone missing. And it was Christmas Day, and out of the palace door came not his dog, but the queen's maid, holding a little bundle in her arms, crying out, my king, is that you? Are you safe? Here, look, it's your baby. Your wife, the queen, gave birth to him while you were gone. And the king took the baby and held it fast to his chest, close to his heart, and he was so happy. And then he heard a from behind, and before he could turn and see, Calicanteros was off. Well, that got him worried because he remembered the vow he had made. He went inside in the queen's chambers, sent everybody, all the maids away, and told her exactly what had happened inside the forest. Oh no, said the queen, our son is definitely lost. What shall we do? You know, husband, my maid's cousin gave birth today. She told me a little while ago. She said how odd it was that both me and her, would give birth on the same day. She's got a baby girl. Why don't you? Oh, that's a good idea, said the husband. He took his baby with him and a bag of gold and went to the poor peasant's house and said, this is what has happened. The Calicanteros is after my son. Would you be so kind as to trade babies? You will keep my son and raise him as if he were your own, and you will give me your baby girl, and I will take you back to the palace, and I will raise her as if she were my own daughter, and here's a bag of gold for you so that you can provide everything for my son. You will lack of nothing while you're raising him. So the peasants thought that it was a win-win. So they accepted. They traded babies. Soon after, he was back to the palace with a baby girl in his hands, put her inside the prince's cradle and left her there. And in the dead of the night, when everybody was sleeping, the Calicantaros, the king, Mandragukos, crept inside from an open window, took the baby from the cradle, and off he was, laughing like a demon while living. Now, the next day, the king and the queen found the empty cradle, and they were a bit upset, I must tell you, but they were kind of relieved as well, because they knew that their son would be raised safe from the Calicantaros now. Not very nice people, if you ask me, because that's all they cared about, but let's leave that out for the moment. Now, the boy was growing with his step-parents, not knowing it, of course, and when he came of age, 16 years later, his father, the farmer, told him everything that had passed. And now that had him thinking, the boy, he was a nice lad. He was actually decent. And he said, I don't know of any princess. I have never heard that the prince has a daughter. Well, it must be the Calicantaros then. Surely that Calicantaros must have kidnapped that baby. Well, that's not fair, he said. But son, you have to go to the palace and become the heir to the throne. It's your duty. No, said the boy. My duty is to go rescue that poor innocent girl who's paying the price for my father's vow. After that, I will deal with the throne and the palace and the king, not before. So he prepared himself a nice bag and put inside wheat, pomegranate, and what was the other material? And nuts. And he took off, following in his real father's footsteps, as if he knew exactly what path he had taken. And soon he found himself under the thick canopy in the dark tunnel between the trees, where the forest was getting damp and dark and gloomy. And then he started muttering to himself, oh boy, I am lost. Oh boy, if only I could get some help, somebody to help me find my way back. Poor me. And what do you know? Christmas time. The Calicantaros was there going, boy, you say you're lost. Do you want me to help you? Oh, yes, you could. What do you want in return? I want, what is inside your bag? I want your bag. You can't have my bag. What's inside there? I want it. What is it? Inside my bag, I have wheat and pomegranate and nuts, and I am taking them home to my mother because my late aunt's brother-in-law's nephew's cousin passed away last night, and now my mom has to prepare coliva for the funeral, and I must get them to her. And while he was getting there, he was spreading the nuts and the wheat and the pomegranate on the way to the forest. So the Calicantaro said, you seem to be a nice lad, very pious and all. Why don't you forget about your home and come with me and become my servant in the land under your land? Yes, I could do that, said the boy, because that was his plan all along, of course. So you had the Calicantaros going in front and singing with his horrible voice how happy he was that he had had another human servant, scaring all the birds away from the trees with his horrific song. The boy following suit after him, and they reached part of the forest the kid had never seen before. He had been spreading the nuts and the seeds all the way until they reached this huge stone, and the Calicanteros pulled at it, and underneath there was this hole and a staircase going downwards, deep inside the earth. And in there they went, the Calicanteros and the boy, and the rock closed by itself above their heads. Now, in the lands of the Calicantari, it was Christmas time, and all the others had gone upstairs in the human territory to do all their mischief. So it was Mandragoukos, the king, the boy, servant, and the Calicanteros' daughter inside the kitchen doing the cooking. So he was a very good lad, and he did what the Calicanteros asked, all the chores, and he would do them as quickly as he could because he wanted to go back to the kitchen quickly where this pretty Calicanteros' daughter was doing the cooking. So he could help her. And of course, he had been told by the Calicanteros that he was not to talk to anyone unless he was talked to first. So he didn't dare ask her what she was doing there because honestly, she did not look like a Calicanteros herself. Actually, she was very human-like. So he thought that this must be the baby the Calicanteros took in my place. And now, if he had gone there to rescue her once, he was even more determined now because he was starting to fall for her. And when the two kids spent time together in the kitchen, they could not say much because you had the Calicanteros, you had Mandragoukos lurking from one corner or the other, but their eyes talked. So, one day, the Calicanteros called the boy to his room and he said, "You lad, tomorrow you go feed the white mare and make sure that the stable remains as clean as you find it." "All right, sir," said the boy, "off you go now." And he was back to his room, and in the middle of the night, he woke up to find the girl next to him. He was so delighted that she was there because he could finally tell her all about their breeding and the exchange of the babies and the story behind it and how he had found himself there for her. And she said, yes, okay, never mind the rescuing part for a moment. Forget about that. What did the Calicanteros ask you to do? "Well, nothing too hard, I guess, just to feed the white mare and clean the stable." "Oh no, poor you," said the girl. "I'm sure he's trying to get rid of you." "Why do you say that? That mare, when she eats so slurpily, and she munches and chews and spreads everything around here that you cannot clean the stable afterwards. I'm sure he's trying to be off with you." "Oh," he said, "I didn't know that." "Here, you have one chance," said the girl. "Here's what I want you to do. "Okay, I can do that," said the boy. So the next day in the morning, he took a bucket with hay and went inside the stable, and the white mare was there waiting for her food, and he put the bucket down, and the white mare dipped her snout inside the bucket and started munching loudly. And the boy took a bit of hay and started making something like a braid. And that had the mare wondering. Then the mare said, "Boy, what is it you're making there?" And the boy said, "I'm making rope." "Why are you making rope?" "Because you're eating like a pig, and I want to use this rope to tie your snout so you don't make a mess out of the stable," said the boy. "Oh," said the mare, and immediately she found that she had lost her appetite. It was very easy for the boy to clean up the little mess he had made and be off with it. When the Calicanteros went and checked the stable, what do you know? He had done it. He said, and he called him back to his room. You, he said, you tomorrow, you go and milk the brown cow. Okay, sire, said he. In the night, he wakes up. Sees the girl beside him, and she says, what did he ask you this time? Just to milk the brown cow, he said, nothing too difficult. Oh, poor you, said she. When this cow starts milking, the milk doesn't stop. It's going to spread all over the place. It's going to be a disaster unless you... All right, said the boy, I can do that. So next morning, he took a bucket, went to the cow, and with another bucket next to it with burning coal inside. So he started milking the cow, and it was a lot of milk that was coming out. And the cow said, so why do you keep that bucket of coal? I have this bucket of coal so I can burn you so that you stop milking, said the boy. And said the cow, and immediately the milk was cut. So he took one bucket of milk back to Mother Kukos, who saw it and said, is this all the milk? Yes, mother. Yes, said the lad. No more milk, that was it. He said, and waited until the boy was out of the room and said, he's not doing this by himself. Surely he must have some help. You boy, you come back here, he said. Yes, Lord. Tomorrow, I want you to cut all the grass from the field. All right, my lord. Back to his room, waking up with the girl at his side. What did he tell you now? Oh, well, she just said, I should cut the grass off that field. Oh, no, he wants to get you out of the way. Don't you see that grass in that field? If you cut it, it immediately grows back. The only chance that you have is if you get the white mare's help. The white mare, she hates me. She doesn't even want to see me after I told you that I would put the rope around her snout. Yes, I know, but here's what you should do. All right? Yes, I've got this, said the boy. So he went to the mare and told her that, come with me, I will take you to the field to graze some fresh grass. So the mare went along, and he took a very long rope, tied it from one end, went around all around the field and back to the mare's tail. He went like 1, 2, 3, 4. What is it you're doing? Said the mare. I'm just inside, in the forest. I'm counting the wolves, but there's so many I've lost count. Said the mare, and she lifted herself on her 2 hind legs and made it for the stable as fast as she could, cutting all the grass down with a rope behind her. And no, the grass did not grow back. When Mandrakuko saw that, he said that, I know my daughter is helping him, the ungrateful lass. I'm going to get rid of them both. So he called them inside his room again and said, boy, I see that you and my daughter love each other. You sleep tonight, and when you wake up tomorrow, you come and greet me good morning, and I will give you my blessings so that you get married. Now the boy couldn't have been happier. Back to his room, waited for the girl to come because, they had this habit of spending the night together for the pastime. So, what did he tell you this time? Said the girl. He said that we must go to him tomorrow morning, and he will give us his blessing so that we can get married, my lord. He said, get married, his blessing. You don't realize that means he's going to eat us both, she said. Listen, go to the stable, find the ox that my father has killed, and from inside his brain you must retrieve the red ball. This is our only chance of survival, and we must be off with it tonight, she said. So the boy went in the middle of the night. He did not want to put his hand inside the dog's brain, but he didn't have any alternative, so he did. He splashed his way through it and retrieved the slimy red ball and went back to the girl. And with the ball, immediately they took off. Now, the next morning, Andrakukos woke up and said, "Where are those two?" He waited and waited, but nobody would come. He went to their rooms and checked, and they were not there. He went to the stable, and they were not there. So he called out all the Calicantari from around. "Go after them, find them, get them, and bring them back to me," he said. "But Lord," said the Calicantari, "it is the 6th of January, and we have no longer the chance of going upstairs in the human world." "Not in the human world, you silly brat," he said. "Inside here, in our world, go after them quickly." So the boy and the girl had started running at night. And when the Calicantari were very close after them, the red ball started vibrating in the girl's hands, and she knew they were getting there. And she said, "Ball, my red ball, will you please make me a pond? And my beloved, will you turn him into a fish so that he can swim inside of me?" And poof, there they were, the girl a pond and a cold fish swimming inside her. And this is what the Calicantari saw. No boy, no girl, just a pond. And they could not realize where they were. They splashed a little bit because they're silly, and they like to play in the waters. And then they could not find them, so they returned. They said, sorry, we looked everywhere, our king, but they were nowhere to be found. The only thing we found was a pond and a fish." She said, "Was them. Go after them and find them and get them here. And I don't care if you use a bucket or if you drink up all the water, but catch that fish and bring them both back to me." Of course, the girl and the boy had not sat there waiting. They had taken their original form and started running again. And soon the ball in the girl's hand started vibrating again. And she said, "Oh, ball, my red ball, will you turn me into a rose bush and turn my beloved into a bud on me?" And poof, there was a thorn bush with a single bud of rose on it. And that was the only thing the little Calicantari found as they were trying to find the girl and the boy. And they ripped their clothes on the thorns, and they could not find the girl and the boy anywhere. So they were soon back to the king, telling him that the thorn bush was the only thing they had found. "Are you good?" said, "I thought we loved you. Those were them. Go there, cut down that rose bush and give me that bud. Get them to me quickly," he said. And off they were again. And of course, the girl and the boy had been running all along when the red ball started vibrating in the girl's hand. And she said, "Oh, ball, my red ball, will you please turn me into a light breeze and turn my beloved in a mosquito so he can fly inside me?" And poof, there it was, a light breeze that was flying around, hovering around, teasing the ears of the little Calicantari. And you had the mosquitoes zoom, 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 going around them and biting a little bit because, they had it coming. That was the only thing that they found. So they went back to the king and told him, and Mandragora was furious this time. He said, "I cannot rely on you. I must go there and get them myself." So he started riding with all the Calicantari behind them, and there were so many. You could see the sun coming out in the horizon when they reached the girl and the boy. But the girl and the boy had been running all this time, and now they were going up the stair. And before they were out there, the girl said, "Oh, ball, my red ball, will you lift off the rock from the opening?" And there it was. It rolled on the side. The boy and the girl were out, and it rolled back again on its own accord because it was the 6th of January. And on a night like this, the Calicantari are restricted back to their world, where they find out that the tree of life they had been sowing all this time has been reborn, remade back to its original size, and they have to start sowing it from the beginning. So now the boy and the girl that were outside in the forest, and they could see a pomegranate tree here and a little wheat there and a nut tree over there. So they followed them and found themselves out of the enchanted part of the forest. And the girl said, "My dear, this is where our paths must part. You will go back to the palace and be the heir to the throne now, and I will go back to my peasant parents." And what do you think? Do you think that their paths parted? Of course they did, and there was a huge celebration and a glorious wedding, and everybody was invited, aristocrats and common folk alike, and they had this huge feast for everybody. And I went there, and I took this little bit of lentil on a stick. I don't know if it's true, I don't know if it's a lie, but this is how the tale goes. And they lived happily ever after, and as you now know, we Greeks say that we lived even better.
Whoa, that was a fantastic 12th night tale. Brilliant. Which I must remember to take down my backdrop before midnight, or else the goblins will get behind it.
Yeah, you see?
Waleed, good to see you.
So I have an arrangement with my little granny storyteller because I'm too embarrassed to say it myself. So she will say it for me. If you like the tales and want us to go to Marrakesh and have a coffee, there is a little hat by my name you can use if you want to make a little donation. Thank you.
Yes, very important. Scroll down. If you're on the site, scroll down. There's a little hat with Despina's name on it, or next to it. If you're not on the site, go to the site and find it, because otherwise Despina is going to have to walk to Marrakesh, and then she's going to have to row across the sea. And I know the ancient Greeks did a lot of that rowing stuff, but but then they had galleys and such, and there were like 30 guys or 100 guys rowing the galleys, whereas Despina will be, well, she'll have a friend with her. But
well, maybe Granny can do a little rowing, but I don't think it will get us there.
Yeah, so it would be great if she could at least get a hovercraft. So if you could throw a euro or a dollar or a pound or a few dirham in the hat, can be either dollars, can be either Canadian dollars or which probably more stable, or US dollars, which are a bit volatile. But Despina isn't fussed. She'll just accept everything. So, but that's fantastic. Waleed, thank you very much. Thank you everyone who came.
Thank you, Waleed.
What have we got coming up? Sunday, we have at 7 p.m. UK time, which is 8 p.m. Moroccan time. Is that right, Waleed? There's a 1 hour difference now. That's okay. I've got to get my head together while I'm programming the festival. And there's our worldwide story round. So please all come and tell a story. And then on Tuesday, of course, we have our young international tellers. Last week we had our young international teller. She was amazing. Thank you, Despina, for bringing her up. And we're hoping to grow that. Can
I ask you, John, do you have a minimum age for young storytellers?
No, your puppet can come on.
It's not my puppet, but they have arranged that my daughter could come and give us a Greek tale, so I could translate for her, if that's fine.
Yeah, no, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Now, we don't have a minimum age. We have an upper age, which is 25, sometimes the 25-year-olds get sort of grey hairs, but that's a different story altogether. Or 24-year-olds. Then only when we're very short. Then who we got? We got next Friday. We got Shane Ibbs as our storyteller, and so Friday. Anyway, that's as far as we go. I shall be in America. I shall be in the USA next week. But
give me a shout out.
I'll shout at you, but you know I'll have to stand on top of the hire car and rental and shout. And we'll
do it
hope
on Facebook.
Yeah, well, you ain't even on Route 66. What good is that? I mean, if I'm doing the American legendary trips, you know, there's only one road, and it goes, you know, but it doesn't go near Washington D.C.
No, but Washington D.C. is the nation's capital, so we're a route unto ourselves.
Yeah, we won't even go there. But anyway, so Shane Ibbs next Friday, Tuesday, Young Storytellers, Sunday, come along and join us for our worldwide story round, as usual, hosted by the inimitable Mike Rust. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone. And
before Laura goes, if that's okay, I'd like to share with you.
Share anything you like to speak.
Sign language, this thing that I have been taught by the great Leland Faulkner, who's been my teacher for the past week. So there is this. Any idea?
Do that again.
See you. I see the sunrise.
Two eyes.
Good. So,
Two eyes and a heart.
When I see you, in my heart, the sun shines.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leland, for that.
Yeah, if I see what I like best about you is not so much that side of you, but I like the bit where you put your hand inside Knox's brain and pull out a red ball. Yeah, I mean that kind of as I have my you know, my catchphrases off with their heads. I think it's just I think it's absolutely I really love the idea of going down, pulling out that red ball, and then it actually working as well. Just it's normally you grab sort of ogres' hearts and things and crush them, but you don't crush this red ball. You take it with you. You take the center of the brain, and so it's fantastic. I love it. What an image.
We had a few disgusting moments today.
No, absolutely. Most appropriate for children. What children like playing with most? Mud.
Children like disgusting things.
I forgot to have the Calicantary fart inside the pond, but the next time.
Oh, the boys would have loved that.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, we mustn't throw it out as a challenge for Friday night. Who can make the most disgusting stories for children, or else we'll lose all the parents. And we'll be one of those sites that children can only watch when their parents aren't there. So Waleed, we better let you get on. Waleed's trying to socialize right now. So good night, everyone, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in this big wide world. Thank you, Despina, as always. See you in a few weeks' time in Marrakesh.
Perfect.
Lots of enough people put in our pot. Okay.
Calinita, adios.
Bye.
Until the next time.
Bye.
To be continued. All right, Waleed, until I find my new catchphrase. See Out.